Hey, Dave here with I guess what's now Fix and Fly RC, just a little site that I set up to put up some videos to try to help other flyers that may be working on something that's out of the norm and trying to figure things out for the first time or whatever. So as always, don't know if these videos will ever make it out to anybody or come to use, but help one or two people, it's worth its time. So what I'm working on tonight, I purchased a FMS 70mm A-10 off Facebook Marketplace a few weeks ago. I've got 3 or 4 flights out of it, and really enjoying it so far. I did, the guy I bought it from, who was the second owner, talked about how squirrely it was, taking off and on, and so I went ahead and set up the, if you're a Spectrum user, you notice that they've got a new firmware out for the receivers where they have a no steering function in there now. And so I bought a 8-channel receiver and put in there, and hooked up that no steering gyro. It's still a little bit squirrely, but not near as bad. I'm not sure if it's quite as good as the A-10 steering gyros. They're pretty rock stable, but it definitely keeps it on the runway, on takeoff, and lands just like a baby. So I think this is soon going to be one of my favorite planes. I did notice a couple things when I was putting it together, getting it ready to fly, that the lights weren't working on it. And I called the guy or texted the guy I bought it from, and he said, well, he noticed they didn't work either, and didn't really mess with it. So as I started looking at it a little bit more, I realized that the lights weren't even there at all. They weren't, and I think he said the guy had replaced the wings at one point maybe, and apparently just didn't reinstall the LEDs. So anyway, just wanted to put those on there. I think they were like $7-8 from Horizon. So I went ahead and ordered a set just to put them in, see what they look like. So then became the challenge of how to get them installed. So I've done one wing, and so I'll show you what I've done, and then I'll just kind of go through another one. So I took a lot of things apart, and I probably didn't need to take as much apart, but in this connector right here, and that's one thing, beauty about this plane, it is you can take the wings off to haul it if you don't have a vehicle big enough to haul it in. It's 4 screws, but the nice thing is it's got the connector there, and just plugs in. You don't have to make any connections or anything. That's a lot different than like my Corsair or my Focke-Wulf, that you're having to make all the connections. So wish they had gone that. And so the connections, the plug-ins for the gear, the flap and the servo are all right in this space right here. So what you're going to have to do is, this is the little thing that holds one of the ordnances on there. They're glued in, so you'll have to kind of pop that out. You could take this out and probably pull it out and get to that connection as well, but when I was looking for stuff, I had just taken that out early and found the connections right there. So you probably could get away from not undoing that one. But the challenge was, how do you get the LED and how do you get the wire through the wing, back through here, up to the connector. And so I took a thin rod, and I ran it. Well, at first I took it where the connector was missing, and I ran it down the wing, and it stopped right here somewhere. So it looked like what I was going to have to do was pull this out right here. And what this is, there's 2 screws right here. There's a lid that pops up, and this is where the servo sits. And so the servo is not actually screwed in this plane. This plastic, there's a plastic box actually, and that's what holds the servo in place. And I was going to have to, look like I was going to have to tear that out, break the glue, and pull the wire through, then rebond it all in there. And that seemed to be a little bit more than I really wanted to take on, and hopefully get back together. So what I did on this wing, I pulled the wire through the top, and I just took an X-Acto knife and just cut me a little slit, and then I took me a straight line, and I just took me a little slit and cut all the way down until I got to the groove here, and I went ahead and instead of trying to fight the wires and stuff, I ended up just prying these up, the ordnance plastic thing. So I'm gonna have to glue those back down. But you know, put a little glue and a little weight on them, hold them till the glue dries. It won't be that big of a deal. And then what I did is to get the wire in there, instead of using my thumb and making a lot of imprints, I actually just used a tongue depressor, and I just had me a little tongue depressor, and I just pushed it, you know, down in there. Then took my wire, fed it back up through this hole right here, and just pulled it through. Made the connection and plugged it in just to check it out. And this is the left wing, and so it's a red light, and the light's working, because a lot of the connections weren't made in the plane, so I was a little afraid in there. So I'm going to do the same on the other wing. I'll video that, but it's you know, it's pretty easy peasy, and I'll fast forward through that. The other thing that's missing that I've got to install is the front lights not on there. I think those wires are tore up. The guy I bought it from said the guy that had it before was flying it on grass, and tore the landing gear out, and he had to replace some of the landing gear. So that might have been what happened. So that may be a little bit more work to get power to that, but we'll figure it out. And but anyway, I'll do the other wing, I'll video it, but like I said, it's pretty easy peasy, and didn't really take that long. And I'll probably just take me a little bit of glue, or even some spackle, and fill those holes up. And I was going to touch up the paint on it anyway, because it's, you know, it's a little rough, not bad, you know, in there, nobody sees it. But anyway, it's a great plane. One I've been looking at for a really long time. Just the price point was a little bit higher than I was wanting to pay at the time, and got a really good deal on Facebook, so Marketplace. So there are deals to be out there. Just be careful and don't get scammed. All right, we'll get on the other wing. Okay, so getting ready to do the wing now, the other wing. Now, when they come with the lights, they don't mark the lights, so there's really no way of knowing red, green, or the white light. So if you happen to have a Spectrum charger, or maybe, you know, there's probably a different version out there that does the same thing, but like a servo tester, plug that in there, and I've already set the servo tester up, got it powered up. So you see, got the green light, so I know got the right light. I guess if you didn't have a tester like that, you could always plug, you know, just plug it up, you know, with, you know, take this cover off, or take this plate out, and plug it up, plug the, you know, power the plane up, and see, and you could check that way, I guess. I went ahead and this cover, what the ordnance thing was missing when I got the plane. There's some kind of plug of, I'm not sure what they filled it up with, that kind of filled that gap in there right there. So it was real easy to pull out. So I can go in here and see if I can find they're tucked away in there pretty good, the connections. There's two of them. Okay, there's the 3 gear flaps and servo, and so there should be one more wire in there. Oh, and it is tucked away, so I am going to have to pull this cap off here, the way they've got the light wires. I guess when he put this back on, he got it caught up in the connector. Kind of small screws. Got a place over here where I'm keeping my screws. Don't know if you work on planes very much, but I have a tendency to drop these small screws. Probably better to put them in a cup, but I've got a little something over here that's holding them in place. All right, so I'm gonna pull that out. And there is the connector for the light. Now it looks like a 3-pin connector, but it's only got 2 wires, a black and a white. So if you've hooked up, hopefully, you know, maybe you haven't, but if you've hooked up servos before, you got to make sure that you always get the black. The dark colors are always negative, so it's either black or some of them are brown, but it's always the dark color. That's always your negative. So you got to always make sure you line your negatives up. So I've got that wire exposed now. All right, so we're going to take our light. So now I'm going to feed it through the hole where the light goes in. And it's just going to be a little spot right there. And I had to get a little something to help me pry it up last time. I'll turn on another light here to help me see. All right. Pull that through. Now, I didn't have it yet, but the wires on here on the end of the light kind of stick out a little bit, and when you kind of put them in the hole, you got to kind of compress that wire. And if it's pretty tight in the hole, my guess is it'll probably never come out, but I'm gonna put me a little glue on the back side of that on both of those just to make sure they're holding them in place, or just around the edge. We'll just make sure that way. Okay, so the routing that I will do, kind of similar to what I did to the other one, is I'm going to go down. For me, I went down the edge right here. Whoops, sorry, the wrong way. Up or around the edge right here. And then what I did was I took a straight edge to where the groove is for the other wires and just kind of made a straight line to that groove. So again, I'll end up popping loose these 3 ordnance holders and gluing them back down. You probably could go around them and come back through right here, but that's getting a little close to the edge of the wing for me. So to whichever your druthers are, that's just kind of my preference, the way I'll do it. I've flown with the ordnances a little bit already, but if I have to start taking the wings off so I can haul other planes, because I drive an Armada and I can get in there with the wings on, but you're kind of limited. I only get a couple other planes in when I do that. So I don't know about when you go to the flying field how many planes you like to take, but I try to take as many as I can if I have the time to fly. Sometimes you just got time to burn a couple batteries, but I'm pretty fortunate that where I live, I have a place really close, just 5 minutes from my house. Nice paved parking lot to fly out of. All right, so I just got, you see, I was just taking my tongue depressor, just kind of pushing that in. You don't want to use anything sharp, obviously, because you don't want to cut your wires. So I'm going to go ahead and just do it around the corner here. Get that one done. It doesn't need to be real deep, obviously. You don't want to go all the way through your wing, mess up the structure. So you just need a little groove there. All right, so I'm just gonna take me a line, straight edge from there to the other groove. couple just to try to keep the same depth, but just a. All right, so I got me a nice straight line there. Turn that corner. Just start kind of pushing it. It doesn't have to go very far. Just, you know, and it's, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, there's quite a bit of pressure. Like I said, I'm going to probably go back and put something around it anyway. Actually, this right here, you can hardly even tell that there's anything there. Like I said, the bottom of the plane, nobody really sees the bottom of your plane anyway. Once you get up in there, nobody's going to see it, but they'll see the lights. All right, so now one thing, when they made the adapter to lengthen this wire, it just so happens it kind of falls in right on that. Did on the other one too, but I didn't want to try to work around it. So all I did is just got me a little flat edge, just get up right around the corner. Try that. You don't have to take it all the way off, just got to get up enough to. I'm going to go ahead and do these while I'm at it. I think some of these have been off already because the way they're glued down. Oops, yeah, so that one almost came all the way off anyway, so oh well. So for the part where they've made the connection, it's a little bit thicker, so it's going to take a little bit more to get it in the groove. Could go in there and probably open that up just a little bit more, but I'm going to turn it to the thin side. See if I can get it down in there. That's not bad. Alright, so we got that all pushed all the way down in there. Push it up under that one. That one came all the way loose. Oh well. Alright, so now I need to get the wire fed back through there, and I've got me just a real thin little wire here. Stick it back up through. There it came. Push it up. So don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. And I got a little hook on it, and the way I pull wires when I have to pull them through planes and stuff, you want to be a little bit gentle, but what I do is I take that little hook and I just slide it in between a couple of the wires on the connector there, because when you're pulling these connectors, it's going to want to just bend over and double itself up, and makes it really hard to pull. So then I get me just a little bit of tape, and so you want to tape it so it's running parallel with the wire, flat with your pull wire. But having it hooked up around the lead wires will just give you a little bit of pull, and it'll pull up against the plastic. So unless you just really get crazy pulling something, and if you're having to pull that hard, you probably want to go back and look, see what else is going on anyway. So like that's a little bit tight, so I'm going to shove it down just a little bit further down. There we go. And that's pretty hard. So we're gonna, all right, pull wire came loose. My hook came loose. If I'm smart, I'll cut this out of the video because you don't need to see all this. All right, I'll cut this out of the video. It's the wire's still connected right there. All right. I just had to get a little bit below something there that was catching on, but you know, like I said, if it starts struggling quite a bit, you know, there's usually an indicator that something else is going on there. All right, got the old tape off there. Put my connection again. All right, so make sure my black to black is lined up. Black to black, red to red, so she's good. And I felt a nice little click there. So pretty comfortable with that connection. All right, then we'll just tuck all these wires back down into place. Put my screws back into my connector there, and we'll plug her into the plane. We'll verify everything's working. But that was it. Really wasn't that hard. If there might have been an easier way to do it, but that's the way I did it. So if it helps, just send me a note and say it helped. If it was stupid and there was a better way to do it, just tell me that as well. But anyway, stay out here, and hope you enjoyed this lengthy and rambling video out here. Okay, so got everything done, hooked back up, and as you can see, I went and hooked up the front light. I'll show you a few things on that in a second. But you can see you got a light on this side, and we got lights on this side. So what I ended up having to do, it took a few minutes to figure out exactly where this goes, but there's a little screw that goes right here, and the housing for the light fits in there. The screw that I took out wasn't quite long enough to try to screw back in for some reason or another, so I've had a bunch of screws laying around, so I found one that's got it screwed in there. Just plugged the light in there, and the clip that holds the wire in place that's supposed to go around here wasn't in the bag with the lights. I don't know if it's supposed to have come, but it wasn't there. So I just put a little piece of tape on there for right now. May figure something out later. And then ran the light up through there, and I couldn't find a power source in the box that's in the back of the plane that would turn the light off when the gears close. There may be one somewhere, but for now, I'll just have to deal with the light being on when it's flying. I mean, it's not gonna make any difference, just it's gonna be on all the time. So anyway, you know, probably all in all, maybe I spent a couple hours on it, maybe. But anyway, got lights on it, so it's gonna look a little better in the air. I can, you know, when it starts getting dusk, I can fly it because I'll have my lights that I can see. So anyway, cost me a few bucks in a few hours, and got lights. So that's what I needed. And like I said, it was a marketplace plane. Got it really cheap, so didn't hurt to put a few bucks into it. So anyway, hope this helped, and leave me a comment if you think there was something better to do or any different. All right, anyway, so it's Dave, Fix and Fly RC.